Hey terrainiacs, Mel the terrain tutor back in the studio and back with a bit of a confession for you. 2x2 boards, you often hear me talk about them in my videos, you know, I'm always making 2x2 tiles and all that sort of thing for this project or that project. But the truth of the matter is, yeah, they're not really 2x2. It's a lie. Yeah? Now it's a lie with a good reason, and I'm going to take you through the reasoning behind it, okay? And why my 2x2 boards aren't actually 2 foot by 2 foot. So with that in mind, I've got one here. Okay, now this is 9mm MDF. It's been cut to be 2x2. Okay, and basically in the UK, when you get a sheet of timber, a sheet of wood, yeah, it typically comes in an 8 foot by 4 foot sheet. Yeah, now I don't know about how it goes on the continent, and I don't know about how it goes in the US, but in the UK they come 8x4, okay, and it's pretty standard, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, and what we typically do is we chop them up, yeah, and we get, 8 2x2 tiles, like this one, okay, but here's the thing, this isn't a 2x2 tile, yeah, now it has been cut from an 8x4, and it's been cut directly down the middle and then quartered, yeah, but if I get my ruler here, yeah, it's actually slightly shorter, okay, and I know you can't see that. Let me take a photo. Do you see how it's a couple of millimeters short? Now there's a good reason for it being a couple of millimeters short. You see, when people take boards, if you get a 4 foot board and you cut it in half, you don't get 2 pieces of 2 foot. You get a 2 foot, and then you get a 2 foot less the width of the blade. Now quite often in industrial cutting, the blades are about 3 millimeters wide, which means, yeah, that when you actually rack your tables up, yeah, and you rack your tiles up, quite often they can be 3 mil short on one side, or even 2, depending on where from the grid they've come. Okay, now typically out of an 8x4 you will only actually be able to get 3 2x2 sheets, true 2x2 sheets. So if you want to do a 6x4 board using 2x2 tiles, you're going to need 2 sheets, yeah, of 8x4 to get those tiles, and the rest is essentially wastage, yeah, with regards to 2x2 tiles. Yeah, they'll be 2x2 minus 3, and they won't work. Now this catches up a lot of people because everyone forgets about that blade width, and then they just don't realise it, and then they continue to build, and when they rack it all up together, yeah, and they put those pieces together, those little 3 mils all build up, okay, and over 3 tiles you can lose 6 mils. On an 8x4 you can lose 9 mils, almost a centimetre, and end up with gaps in your layout. Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why my boards aren't 2x2. Instead, I go for a smaller option. Now here, if I put this on top, you can immediately see it is smaller than the 2x2, okay, or the quasi 2x2. Now this is actually 23 inches by 23 inches, and the benefit of doing it 23 inches by 23 inches is that I can get them to cut it, because I get all my boards cut at the timber yard. I can get them to cut it perfectly and always ensure that every tile they cut from that 8x4 piece, yeah, is exactly the same. Yes, I will lose about an inch over the whole project, but I mean, if you're worried about losing an inch over, you know, over something that long, you got size issues, guys. There's nothing I can do to help you. Yeah, now, I normally work, yeah, anywhere between 23 inches, okay, and 23.5 inches. And now that's important as well. The reason being, yeah, is that 2 foot, let me bring this up to the camera, yeah. Now the reason I use 23 is that because 24 is 610 millimeters, but if I go down to 23.5, it's just less than 600 millimeters. Now I know we were talking feet, and now you're wondering, why the bloody hell's he going on about millimeters? Well, here's the thing, yeah, although in the UK we buy our timber on 8x4 sheets, pretty much all the rest of our building materials have converted over to metric. And so when you go to buy a 2 foot by 4 foot sheet of Jabite polystyrene, it's not actually 2 foot, okay? It's actually 600 millimeters. Now this is important because if I do go the expensive route and I get proper 2x2 tiles and I get my 2 foot by 4 foot sheet of polystyrene and I lay it down, I'm going to be left with a 10 mil gap, yeah, where the polystyrene doesn't extend to the board edge. Whereas if I drop it down, yeah, to 23.5 inches, yeah, I've got 4 mil, okay, overhanging on the edge, which means I can get my hot wire cutter, trim it off and give myself a really nice clean edge all the way around the board. Okay, so yes, I know I go on about 2x2, but it is, it's to get true 2x2 boards, yeah, the challenges that involved are just too challenging. I'm struggling for words here, guys, but you see what I mean? Yeah, on a 2x2 you're going to be looking at issues of your boards aren't going to be the right size. On top of that, you've got to factor in the fact that your polystyrene sheets, I mean, you guys know I use a lot of this blue foam, yeah, and I've got extra thick blue foam and I've got green foam sheets, yeah, for the Burma board. Yeah, this stuff is sold 600 millimeters by 600 millimeters, which means if I put it on a 2x2, I'm going to be left with gaps. If I put it on a 23.5 by 23.5, I'm not. I'm going to have overhang, I'm going to be able to trim it. Okay, so yes, my big fat 2x2 lie is that, you know, my boards aren't really 2x2. Yeah, they're typically 23 by 23 or 23.5 by 23.5. But the reason for that is it just negates so many challenges. They just cease to exist, you know, because all the rest of my materials will fit quite happily over the top of them. Yeah, so if you are looking to create 2x2 gaming boards, yeah, don't go for 2x2. I know you can take the board down to the timber yard and get them cut and that sort of stuff, but like a few terrain builders I know, you'll only realise the width of the blade is an issue after you've built your terrain, you put it all together and you realise, uh-oh, I got problems. Yeah, go for 23.5, yeah, as your very maximum. And like I say, you're losing ½ an inch from each deployment zone, guys, yeah. It's nothing major, yeah. You can live with losing an inch, you know what I mean, overall. Right, I think we better leave it there, haven't we? So that's my big fat 2x2 secret lie. Yeah, anyway guys, I hope this has given you a little insight, and I hope this sort of helps you sort of troubleshoot problems you've had with your builds, or if you're looking to start a build, it gives you something to think out and you avoid the problems that I and many other terrain builders have had in the past. Now, as always, yeah, if you've got any comments, any questions, anything you'd like to add, get it down in the in the comments. Obviously, like it if you like it, share it if you know anyone who'd appreciate this information. And then finally guys, if you appreciate this information, please consider supporting the channel. You know, it's your support that keeps the lights on, the kit on the table, you know, the cameras rolling, and gives me the time to actually edit these videos up for you and share this information. And so I rely on you know, the 1 in 1,000, the good folks, you know, who really do appreciate it, to just chip in their pocket and either throw $1 via Patreon a month, yeah, or, you know, jump into the description, pick up the PayPal address, you know, send over a one-off. Either way, it all keeps this all running, and it all keeps me sharing all this information and helping you with your builds. And I couldn't do without you good folks. So please, if you like it, please support it. And in the meantime guys, I've got builds to crack on with, so I will see you very soon. All the best, yeah? Ta-da.